Everyone's watching the Odyssey for the monsters. Matt Damon as Odysseus' decade-long journey home. And what if I told you that it's actually the best investing lesson ever written? If you strip away Cyclops and the sea monsters, and you've got the oldest investing lesson in existence, written a few thousand years before anyone had a Bloomberg terminal. Odysseus doesn't win because he's the strongest guy in the room. That was Achilles, and Achilles is dead. Odysseus wins because he's patient. He's unrecognizable when he needs to be, and he's smart enough to build systems that protect him from himself. Here's the scene everyone remembers. Odysseus wants to hear the siren song, the one that's wrecked every sailor dumb enough to even listen. So he doesn't trust his willpower, and he ties himself to the mast and orders his crew to plug their ears and tells them explicitly, no matter what I beg you to do not untie me. No, that's not discipline. That's smarter than discipline. He knew that future him, drunk on the siren song, would make a terrible decision. So he built a system to override that version of himself before it ever even showed up. So in 2008, I didn't have a mast yet. I was still building my rules for engagement. I was still figuring out the frameworks I now teach. So when the market actually started falling apart during that time, I did what most people with no rope tying them to anything did. So I reacted, I white knuckled, I swung for the fences with conviction, with nothing underneath it. So that stress didn't stay in my head. It landed in my stomach, literally. So I developed a stress ulcer bad enough that my body gave out in public at a party in front of people I respected. So that's not a badge of honor. That's what happens when you're improvising through a crisis instead of already being tied to something solid. That's the same year Buffett was publicly telling people to get greedy while others were fearful. I read that line, and at the time, had zero system in place to actually act on it. So that's every risk framework I've built since. So